Since we last saw Stephen Curry hit the big shots on the big stage, that being New York, Madison Square Garden, and against West Virginia, we kind of haven't talked about him very much of late because his Davidson team has gone into Southern Conference play, but they get out of that conference on Wednesday and play at Duke. Hey, how are you folks? Jason Horowitz. Glad to be with you here on CBSSports.com, breaking down college basketball all season long, and glad to have my buddy along, Gary Parrish, our CBSSports.com columnist, to discuss all of this, our college basketball insider. And Gary, anytime you talk about Davidson, you start with Stephen Curry, but this game, it adds a little bit more to watch because of where he's playing and who he's playing.
Yeah, I mean, Duke is must-see television for most people. Cameron Indoor Stadium is perhaps the most special place in college basketball. Now you got a kid who has sort of become a phenomenon in this sport, and, added to it, he was not recruited by any ACC school. He could not have walked on at Duke, probably, and yet now he might be the best player on the court in his junior year of college. It's going to be one of those nights where you just hope when you tune in, you see him do what he's been able to do throughout the past 2 years, which is, whether it's against West Virginia in the Garden, against NC State with LeBron on the front row, or in the NCAA tournament, of course, last season, make shots, make his team competitive, and maybe pull up an upset.
Gary, last year, in all these tough games that they played, they didn't come up with any of those wins, they being Davidson. This year, they have had a couple of those wins, beating NC State, beating West Virginia. What do they have to do to beat Duke?
Oh, it'll be Curry. I mean, he's going to have one of those moments, and I don't mean necessarily go for 40, but be efficient. One of the trends that's developed throughout this year is that when they played schools, even the West Virginia, everybody remembers the shots he hit at the end. He didn't hit any shots for 35 minutes. And he shot a low percentage against Oklahoma this year, against NC State, against West Virginia. I think he's got to be more efficient when he goes into Cameron Indoor Stadium because Duke's too talented. Too good defensively. Duke's going to score, and they're going to guard. He's got to be great, or else they got no shot.
Yeah, Curry certainly will thrive under that pressure of Cameron Indoor Stadium. He has thrived under the pressure of a lot of different things, including the tournament last year, which is where everybody started to get to know him. I want to talk about one of the players, though, for the Blue Devils here, Gary, now #2 in the nation. When you look at Kyle Singler and the development from last year to this year, it's incredible what he's been able to do.
I think he's so good. I mean, I got so many emails from Duke fans in the preseason trying to tell me Gerald Henderson was the best player on this team. Gerald Henderson's the star of Duke, not Kyle. Look, Kyle Singler is a star by any measuring stick. He can take over games late. He can score late. He can score inside and out. He can grab a rebound if you need it. He's a special player, and it's hard to be underrated if you're at Duke, but I think he is a little bit underrated on a national level. He's probably one of the top 10 players in the country, and this is the natural progression that I suspect that he would have. A very good high school player who had a very good freshman year, and he's one of the few great freshmen who decided to come back for a sophomore year along with Blake Griffin, and now you're seeing what that accounts to, 16.5 points a game, 7.8 rebounds, 3.7 assists. He's an All-American.
Yeah, absolutely, and playing like it and playing much better. Duke with its win over the weekend against Virginia Tech. Oh, you mentioned Gerald Henderson. Real quickly on Henderson, Gary. His teammates at the end of December, the middle of December, were talking about how they needed him to step up. Has he pulled into that role yet, the role that they need him to be?
He's a good other guy. I don't think he's the go-to guy on a top 5 team, but he's clearly probably the best NBA prospect on the team. He's athletic. He's actually shooting 37% from behind the three-point line. 12.3 points per game. He's not terrible, anything like that. Don't get me wrong. But I think he's a perfect #2 guy. Just don't get it twisted. He's the #2 guy on this team, and he's been better. 8 of 12 against Loyola, 5 of 10 from the field against Virginia Tech. That's pretty good relative to where he started the season when he's still 2 of 7, 4 of 7, 4 of 6. He started slow, but he's getting where he needs to be and starting to play the way he played last March.
All right, well, it's amazing that Duke Davidson is going to get the national publicity that it has, but just shows the progress that Bob McKillop has made for that school and how big this is and what Stephen Curry has done there as well. Gary Parrish, thank you very much, sir, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
All right, folks, for more on this game, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com and be sure to check out Parrish's three-pointers only here on CBSSports.com. For Gary Parrish, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care, folks.